It's Tuesday, September 12th, and a Wyoming gun rights law expert is saying the New Mexico governor blatantly violated the U.S. Constitution when she issued a 30-day ban on carrying firearms in public in Albuquerque. The Wyoming Democratic Party voted at its Central Committee meeting in Newcastle Saturday to go 100% with mail-in ballots for its presidential preference caucuses next spring. And there was that time when Daffy Duck planned a trip to Thermopolis. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Kaur for Cowboy State Daily. A Wyoming gun rights law expert said New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham blatantly violated the U.S. Constitution when she issued a 30-day ban on carrying firearms in public in Albuquerque. Governor Grisham claims she ordered the ban because a recent rash of shootings there amount to a public health emergency. And while Wyoming's U.S. Representative, Republican Harriet Hageman, says the governor acted like a dictator, some on the opposite side of the gun rights issue also believe the New Mexico leader went too far, according to Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines.
There's quite a liberal Democrat politician out of California who is slamming it as being unconstitutional and the New Mexico governor going way beyond her bounds of authority to implement this suspension or ban, if you will.
University of Wyoming law professor George Moxery told Cowboy State Daily Monday that the move is patently unconstitutional and probably won't stand up to legal challenges. The Wyoming Democratic Party voted at its Central Committee meeting in Newcastle Saturday to go 100% with mail-in ballots for its presidential preference caucuses next spring. Political reporter Leo Wolfson said this will be the second consecutive presidential election cycle that the Democrats have used this voting method in Wyoming.
Party chairman Joe Barbruto said that the party did this in 2020, and when they did, they had a historic turnout for voting. Around 40% of the state's registered Democrats voted, whereas in past presidential selections, less than 20% had voted.
The Democrats also will use ranked choice voting on their ballots, an electoral system where voters rank candidates by preference on their ballots. Roughly a third of Wyoming's elk herds are above their objective population numbers, and the Wyoming Game and Fish Department is in the tricky position of trying to balance the wants and demands of hunters and landowners. That's according to Outdoors reporter Mark Hines.
Whether it's the landowners who think there's just too many elk crashing through their fences, eating their hay. And on the other side, the Game and Fish has, of course, hunters who might feel frustrated like, hey, you're telling me there's all these thousands and thousands of elk, and yet everywhere I go, I can't get access to go hunt them.
The three elk herds that are most over objective are the Iron Mountain herd between Cheyenne and Laramie, the herd around Laramie Peak, and the Black Hills herd. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Tempers are flaring between Casper Mayor Bruce Nell and area state lawmakers over problems with homelessness in the city, and they're taking their differences to social media. Nell, Bar None resident Dan Sabrowski, and state representatives from Casper and Midwest traded barbs over Casper's homeless problem, and Nell's sometimes sharp responses to Sabrowski, who comments regularly on posts regarding local policies. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson said the exchange was unusual.
It's not common for state legislators to get into public Facebook spats with anyone, let alone a local government official like the mayor of Casper. But Nell said he's not sorry and is not backing down from what he said.
Sabrowski told Cowboy State Daily people need to speak with less animosity and hate when engaging in these debates. And Nell said he's had enough of Sabrowski's name-calling, which is why he shot back on Facebook. And the iconic Looney Tunes cartoons weren't usually set in actual places unless the names were kooky enough to be funny, such as Cucamonga, California, and the infamous Wrong Turn at Albuquerque. But Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi says the Hot Springs County seat played prominently in a Warner Brothers compilation of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoons released in 1982 titled 1001 Rabbit Tales.
I spoke to animation historian and Looney Tunes expert Jerry Beck about how Thermopolis, of all the places, would end up in a Looney Tunes movie. movie. And his explanation was basically it sounded funny, and the Looney Tunes team was always looking for quirky places to set their cartoons.
Beck says he thinks Thermopolis can wear its inclusion in a Looney Tunes movie as a badge of honor. For the record, Daffy never makes it to Thermopolis. Shortly after he catches his flight, he decides it's getting too cold and heads south for the winter with his duck brethren. And that's today's news. If you're ready to unlock your daily dose of Wyoming, sign up for the Cowboy State Daily newsletter to stay in the know. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.